We're here in the studios in London at Cornerstone Convergence EMEA 2018. I'm lucky enough to be joined by Jeremy Gutsche, who's literally just come off the stage from his keynote speech. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
For those people who weren't lucky enough to be in the room, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and Trend Hunter?
Sure. So, well, my name's Jeremy Gutsche, and I guess the way I describe myself is that I was always a little guy looking for my business idea, but I could never figure it out. So back about 2005, I started coding a website called Trend Hunter as a place for people from around the world to share business ideas. And this is pre-Facebook, this is pre a lot of social media that we use now. And for me, I just really hope some kid somewhere would share a little idea that would inspire me. What I didn't expect is pretty soon there'd be a couple 100,000 hunters, traffic would go from thousands to millions to billions, and now we use it as a research platform. So behind the scenes, we've done about 10,000 custom trend reports for pretty much every major Fortune 500 brand, and we're helping people basically find better ideas faster.
Excellent. Could you give us a couple of the highlights from the keynote today?
Sure. So today what I was talking about was about how to spark a revolution and really get your ideas in action, how to make things happen. And the biggest part of the speech I spent talking about was the metaphor of the hunter versus the farmer. And the idea is that 1,000,000 years ago, we were hunters. Hunters are nomadic, eat or be eaten, good at adapting because they have to, because they don't know where the next meal will come from. But 10,000 years ago, people planted the first seed, and when they did, statistically, that's when we could stay put. Societies started forming, we put in rules, policies, regulations, everything we could to preserve and protect whatever led to last year's harvest. And after 10,000 years of evolution, what that means is that with each level of success that you have in your career, or success your team has, or success your company has, there are three traps that kick in. We start to become complacent, even though we wouldn't use that word. We'd shy away from that, but fundamentally we lose the hunger we had when we were fresh out of school or when times were tough. We become repetitive, but we use the word best practices, and then we also become very protective of our egos, our projects, that kind of thing. The way out of it, the hunter instincts we need to channel are to be curious, to be insatiable, and to be willing to destroy.
And how did you find the audience in the room today compared to maybe other audiences that you spoke to?
I had a lot of fun. It's always nice when you see more than 1,000 people all jammed in one room, so it was a nice energy level, and definitely fun to see and chat with people after, just knowing people are coming from so many different countries, all converging at this one event.
Actually, you talk about energy. I've seen a couple of your videos, and you're always full of energy yourself. So what's your motivation?
So, personally, I'm probably a pretty energetic guy, but I remember the best piece of advice I ever had when it comes to speaking. I've done now 600 gigs on a stage like this, but the best piece of advice I had was probably about 30 or 40 gigs in, and a woman said to me, "Oh, I thought you'd be better." I was like, "What? Everyone else liked it." But she goes, "No, it seemed like you were still trying to be professional and say your words perfectly like you probably did in your old role when you were a banker. And so your words are all perfect, and then the best parts aren't when you're doing those perfect words. It's when you turn to the audience and go, 'Oh, and let me tell you what really happened.'" And she goes, "That's what you got to do. You got to just remember you got a room full of 1,000 people that are hung over. So be yourself more, stumble on your words if you want, but laugh at it. Just enjoy your time there. Experiment a bit more each time, but just go for as natural as you can be." And so now, that if I graphed my, energy level, or however you want to put it, that was a big change. So being natural, not trying to make each word perfect.
Hopefully they weren't too hungover this afternoon. They look really well engaged. One of the key themes that I've certainly seen in your speeches has been the realizing potential of employees. I just wondered how you thought companies could instill this in their employees.
Sure. So high level, the idea is that you, me, and everyone else in the company is probably closer to our next level than we think, but we get so caught up in the day-to-day, we get so caught in the path that what you really need to do are find all of the activities you can do that would let you break free from the path. So that could mean, encouraging there to be time for people to work on different projects, having brainstormings, having innovation times, rewarding the things where people went out of their way to actually do something different, or every little cultural piece that actually gets people to stop just doing the KPI activity that makes you efficient, and then harnessing some of those hunter instincts to be looking for new ideas. And it's a bold question, which is say, how do you fix this? Because every company is different. But I'll give you a couple tactics to be more really specific. Everyone says things like, "Oh, you should fail, and failure is good for innovation." All the business speakers tell you that, but I don't want to fail. Do you want to fail? Do you want that to be your project?
I think anyone wants to fail.
So I've been researching a lot of tactics from some of our clients. So here's some that are fun. At Adidas, the head of future running and innovation there, his name is Mick Lucier, he will host a project funeral to celebrate your project that didn't work out. At Staples, guy named Brian Copeland, head of innovation there, will give you a written permission slip that says you're permitted to fail on this project because we know you're doing something that's bigger and bolder. At MTV, they will fire you if you don't have a big failure by the time you get to SVP. And I could go on and on with different tactics from different companies, but the takeaway that's really simple is you have to just put in little tactical actions to make it possible for people to brainstorm or feel they can experiment and actually pursue new ideas.
And extrapolating on that a little bit, people are sometimes perhaps a little bit scared of the chaos of change. What advice would you give to those people?
Sure. Well, chaos creates opportunity. And my first book in 2005 was, or 2008, gotta get that date right, was called Exploiting Chaos, and it was specifically about how chaos creates opportunity in times that are good, but also even times that are bad. And I found some of the neatest lessons are studied when times are bad. That's when things are most chaotic for someone. So if you look at periods of global economic recession, you'd be astounded by the companies founded in a recession. So General Electric, Hewlett-Packard, Apple, Burger King, Fortune Magazine, FedEx, all these companies were founded in the most chaotic and downturn of times. But what happens in chaos is that consumer minds and people's preferences start to change. Companies and people doing well start to get more conservative. But if you're looking at what's happening in all those changes, you can spot new opportunity, and that's why chaos is actually such an interesting thing. It makes you nervous, but it also is the source of all new creativity.
That's true. And just finally, I wondered how you thought that companies could find better ideas faster.
So a lot of it is some of the little tactics of just trying to be on top of your game to free up the time to actually look for ideas. We just so often get caught up in our day-to-day. But otherwise, maybe that's the part where I'm supposed to plug Trend Hunter, my site, because that's what it's for. Our slogan is find better ideas faster. So shameless plug. But also, just as an individual, I think it's having that mindset or attitude where you are proactively looking for ideas and jotting them down and recording them, and not just getting caught up with the day-to-day tasks that so easily consume all of us.
Excellent. Jeremy, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you, and hope you've enjoyed your time at Cornerstone
Absolutely.
Convergence.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.